we have to say introduction to disaster. And introduction to disasters, what is a disaster? The second one, who are the first responder? And third one, what to do? Earthquake period. In earthquake period, we have three types. One is if indoor, what we do. If outdoor, what we do. And then if moving vehicles, what we do. Okay. Next one, we have to go for disaster management cycle. You have to see the prevention mitigations, relief funds, and then response recuse. These are all the disaster management cycles. And then next we have to go for what is new, what is new as then disaster prevention management, and then do's and don'ts, types of disasters, global trends in disasters, and then next one we have to go for classification of disasters, and then various types of disasters. These are all covered in introduction disasters. Okay.
Impacts from natural disasters are on the rise. Around the world, hurricanes, droughts, floods, cyclones, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions pose a growing threat to economies and the lives of millions. Global are suffering the most. Over the last 20 years, low-income countries experienced just over a quarter of flood events, but suffered nearly 90% of related casualties. Investments in preparedness and resilience can keep these natural hazards from becoming human catastrophes. With drivers like rapid urbanization and climate change, however, disaster risk is evolving rapidly in today's world. To know
Disaster. Disaster is any occurrence that can cause damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, or deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected community or area. So, what is hazard then? Hazard is any phenomenon that has the potential to cause disruption or damage to people and the environment. So, what is the difference then between hazard and disaster? It is the fact that disaster needs response from outside the affected community, but hazard doesn't need it. There is also one Colin Grant's definition of disaster. It says that disaster is a catastrophe causing injury or illness simultaneously to at least 30 people who require hospital emergency treatment. Remember the number 30. Next, we come to disaster cycle. As you can see, it has 5 phases: response, rehabilitation, reconstruction, mitigation, and preparedness. The first 3 are in the recovery phase, and the last 2 are in the risk reduction phase. Now, we go into a little more detail of each of these phases. The response phase involves searching, rescuing, and giving first aid to the wounded. Number 2, field care. Number 3, triage. We will be dealing with triage a little while later. Number 4 is death management. Number 5 is relief phase. Number 6 is vaccination. Now, according to WHO, there is no need to vaccinate the victims. We should just vaccinate the health workers. There is no need to even give tetanus injection. The most important thing to do is to supply safe drinking water and ensure proper disposal of excreta. Finally, there is nutrition. Rehabilitation phase involves water supply. The best way to disinfect water is chlorination. It is done by maintaining chlorine level of 0.2 to 0.5 mg per liter in water. Number 2 is food safety. Number 3 is sanitation and personal hygiene. And number 4 is vector control. Coming to mitigation, what does disaster mitigation actually mean? In simple terms, it means preventing hazards from causing an emergency. Finally, disaster preparedness means to strengthen the capacity of the country to efficiently manage all emergencies. Next, tell me, what is the most common disease post disaster? The answer is gastroenteritis. And what is the most common nutrient deficiency post disaster? It is vitamin A deficiency. Now we come to triage. So, what is triage? Triage is the process of rapidly classifying the injured on the basis of the severity of their injuries and likelihood of survival. It is not based on first come first service. It is done at the site of disaster. The patients are first classified as red, yellow, green, and black. The red ones are the ones who need immediate care. Yellow are the ones who need delayed care. Green are the ones who need minimum care. And black, these are patients who are already dead or moribund and hence need little care. Next, the patients are given tags according to their classification. The patient ID, age, place of origin, diagnosis, and initial treatment should be written on the tags. Finally, we come to the concept of reverse triage. It is generally done in times of war. In reverse triage, the less wounded are given preference over the more wounded so that they can return to their posts as early as possible. Okay, we now come to the individual types of natural calamities. First is flood. So, how to prevent floods before they occur? Number 1, by proper town planning. Number 2, by building dams. Number 3, by weather forecasting. What to do during a flood? Number 1, switch off the electricity. Number 2, protect the vulnerable population like elderly and children. Number 3, take everybody upstairs. And number 4, prevent contamination of food and drinking water as much as possible. What to do after a flood has already occurred? Clean all utensils and rooms. Basically, disinfect everywhere where the flood water has entered. Next comes storms. We should choose a shelter from beforehand where we can take shelter if any storm comes. During a storm, listen to the advice given over radio or TV. Tie down important belongings. Take shelter, but never under a tree. After the storm is over, be careful around buildings from falling objects which might be left unstable during the storm. Finally, we come to earthquake. Urban planning is very important here. We must build earthquake resistant buildings. Also, practice drills should be held regularly. During an earthquake, remain calm and stay away from stairs, buildings, and bridges because they might fall. Even after the earthquake is over, stay away from damaged buildings. You never know when they might collapse. Next, we come to a topic which is very close to my heart: Bhopal gas tragedy. On 3rd December 1984, an industrial accident occurred in the Union Carbide factory in Bhopal, which resulted in the liberation of methyl isocyanate, a dreadful gas which resulted in the death of thousands. Next, we come to some important information which I think you should know. When is the World Disaster Reduction Day? It is on 2nd Wednesday of October. Where all are the Indian Meteorological Department located? It is located in Kolkata, Bhubaneswar, Visakhapatnam, Chennai, and Mumbai. Finally, where is the snow and avalanches?
Morning, students. I'm handling this with disaster management. First, you have to see introduction to disasters. Almost every day, newspapers, radios, and television channels carry report on disasters striking all parts of the world. Next one, you have to go for what is a disaster. The term disaster owes its origin to the French word disastre, which is a combination of two words, disi, mean bad, and astre means evil storm. Next one, what are the causes of disaster? It causes great damage or loss of life and property. Next one, who are the first responders? On a daily basis, police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical technicians are a community first responder. Whether during flood, fire, or act of terrorism, mental health professionals of the community hospitals may also be active in those early minutes and hours after disasters. Next one, how to do respond to earthquake. Japan is a very active seismic area. It has the densest seismic network in the world. Indonesia is in a very active seismic zone also, but because it is larger than Japan, it has more earthquake. Next one, what to do during an earthquake? If windows drop to the ground, if there is no table or desk near you, cover your face and head with your arms in an inside corner of the building. Protect yourself by staying under the lintel of an inner door in the corner of a room, under a table, or even under a bed. Next one, if indoor, stay away from glass windows, outside doors, and walls, and anything that could fall. For example, lighting, pictures, furniture. Next, you have to go for outdoors. Move away from building, trees, street lights, and utility wires. If you are in open space, stay there until the shaking stops. Most earthquakes related casualties result due to collapsing walls, flying glass, and falling objects. Next one, you have to go for if in moving vehicles. If in moving vehicles, what we do at the time of earthquakes? Stop as quickly as the safety permits. Avoid stopping near or under building, trees, overpasses, and utility wires. Proceed casually once earthquake has stopped. Avoid roads, bridges, or ramps that might have been damaged by the earthquake. Next one, we have to go for disaster management cycles. In disaster management cycle, you can classify into two types. One is pre-disaster, another one is post-disasters. In pre-disasters, risk reduction. Post-disasters, you have to recover the people. First one, you have to go for response by relief. Second one, rehabilitations, reconstruction, mitigations, and then preparedness. The next one, you have to go for emergency response. These are all the disaster management cycle. Okay. Next one, in disaster management cycle, we have to main thing is mitigations, response, long-term measures. In mitigations, one is risk analysis, vulnerability analysis, hazard assessment, risk assessment, prevention, structural measures, non-structural measures, preparedness, warning and excavations, planning of disaster response. Next one, you have to go for response, recuse the people, relief, long-term measures, rehabilitation, reconstruct and recovery. Being done efficiently, need better planning, no substantial work done so fast. Okay. Next one, what are the losses due to major earthquakes? It should be greater than 600 Pascal in Japan and USA in the year of 2003 to 2005. Okay. How many times earthquakes attacked? First, you have to see how many persons killed, how many persons injured, and then how many persons destroyed the house, how many persons damaged the house. We have to see two. One is Japan, another one is USA. Japan 10 times, killed 34, injured 1048, and destroyed it should be greater than 496. Destroyed 4 it should be greater than 496. Damaged it should be greater than 3553. USA 7 times attacked, 2 numbers killed, 59 members injured. It should be greater than 55. It should be greater than 235 damaged. Okay. Next one. The topic is economic losses due to earthquake. I have to plot the graph in x-axis period versus in y-axis losses in 1000 crores. One is you see this one 91 to 95, 30%, 36. That is 50%. 96 to 139. 1 to 5, 86 crores. That is annual impact on people loss in lives 4,334. People affected 30 million. House loss 2.34 million. Annual financial loss. Percentage of central revolutions for relief 12%. Okay. Next one, vulnerability of states. In vulnerability of states, we have see types of disasters and the name and types of number of states. We have 5 types of disasters. One is Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, and Andaman Nicobar Island. Northeast states West Bengal, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan. Even though affected only by drought, but suffers heavy financial loss, averaging 3 to 8,000 crores annually. First, you have to see Gujarat, number of states 1, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Nicobar Islands 4 states, Northeastern states, West Bengal, Bihar, Tamil Nadu 10 states, then Rajasthan 3 states. Okay, you have to see this earthquake, cyclone, tsunami, flood, drought, landslides. Earthquake, violet color is there, denotes earthquake, and then cyclone, blue color, number of earthquakes 4 times. Flood also same thing, 4 numbers. And the next one, droughts and landslides, green color. Droughts should be in brown color. Okay. Next one, Disaster Management Act in the year of 2005 started. In order to coordinate the central government efforts in preparedness, prevention, response, mitigation, relief, and rehabilitation for adaptation of a holistic, proactive approach to disaster management. Next one, in Disaster Management Act in the year of 2005, under the chairmanship of Prime Minister as the nodal agency for disaster management in the country. Next one, National Disaster Management Structures. One is Government of India, Planning Commission, another one is NDME, National Disaster Management Act, NEC, National Executive Committee, Cabinet Committee on Security. One is MHA, another one is other ministries versus departments, armed force, another one is National Institute of Disaster Management, and the National Disaster Response Force, National Disaster Mitigation and Resource Centers, and then Cabinet Committee on Security, Cabinet Committees on Management of Natural Calamities, High Level Committees, National Crisis Management Committees. States, United States, State Disaster Management Act, State Disaster Response Force, Department of Homes, Department of Homes and Ministry Departments, Home, Civil Defense, Policy, Police, and the firefighters. Firefighters, fire service. In the district wise, there are 2 district disaster management act, departments, Home Guard, Civil Defense, Police and Fire Service is undergo and all, community, local bodies versus authorities, last one communities. Okay. Next one, National Disaster Management Act Authority, and is a Chairman, Prime Minister's, Cabinet Committee on Stability, Cabinet Committee on Natural Calamities. In Vice Chairman, we have one is policy, promotion, mitigation, and preparedness. One is in policies, you have to see KM Singh member, Mr. M. Patachari member, Mr. B. Patachari member, Mr. P. J. Rao member, L. T. Jain members, M. K. members, M. S. Reddy members, NVJ Menon members. The next one is NDMA, and then National Executive Committees, Capacity Building Communications, and NEOC wing, Disaster Management wing. Okay. Next one, Disaster Management wing, we can one is Financial Advisor, Policies and Plans, Mitigation Preparedness, International, and media and public preparedness. Is in financial advisors, one thing finance and accounts and audits, policies and plans, and plans, and mitigation preparedness of the cause information. Next one, media and public preparedness, media information, another one is community preparedness, and National Disaster Management, National Disaster Relief Fund, PNS, regional mitigation resources, CS training centers. PNS stands for batch numbers. Chandigarh, Noida, half batch numbers each. Patna, SSB, half batch numbers. Another one is Gandhinagar, Pune, Latur, Nagpur, Chennai, another one is Hyderabad, Bhubaneswar, Kolkata. In orange color, National Disaster Relief Fund, and green color, training centers. Training centers. Okay. Next one, construction of specialized research and rescue team commanders, inspectors, sub-inspectors, both under all technical support 6 number, team A 6 number, team B 6 number, members. The team C 6 members. Team D 6 members. The dog squad 3, medical support team 3, and then administrative support team 7. Okay. Next one, conception of research team for NBC, National Companies, Emergencies, Team Commanders Inspectors, Directory, Team Leaders Inspectors, recuse and execution team, and then finally you have to go for administrative support team 7. Okay. Next one you have to go for the slogan. For development of sustainable process mitigation must be built into the planning process. Next one, disasters must be treated as an opportunity to build back better. You see this diagram in disasters, very low rainfall, and the plus also attacked with this one, and then it on also. Next one, you have to go for strategy for disaster management. Changes of focus from relief centers to holistic approach, mainstreaming approaches, mainstreaming disasters management into national development programs, empowerment of the community to face a disaster, emphasis on training and development of human capital building, key role of educational and professional institutions for mass education and awareness cooperating on the key response centers. Next one, policy formulation and team composition. So is concerned member of authority, concerned member, ministry, use, organization leader, organizations development, studies, project teams, study, advisors, experts, leading international academic IITS institutions, secretarial supports, additional secretary, joint secretary.